Have you heard stories about many kings, but have you heard about this king who is mentioned in the Quran itself? Zulkarnain was a ruler whom Allah had given power on earth. Who was he? Where did he rule? And did he really imprison Gog and Magog behind a wall? Today we will learn about this amazing personality's story. According to the Quran, Zulkarnain was a righteous ruler who was just and close to Allah. His kingdom was very large, and he traveled from east to west. He helped the weak and stood against oppression. His name Zulkarnain comes from Arabic, which means the one with two horns, but scholars have different opinions about the origin of this name. Let's learn about this in detail. The one with two horns. Some scholars believe that Zulkarnain's crown had two horns, which symbolized his power and greatness. These horns were part of his crown and gave him a special dignity. Two sons. Some commentators say that Qarnayn could also mean son. In this sense, Zulkarnain would mean the one with two sons, referring to a king who ruled both east and west. This viewpoint suggests that Zulkarnain traveled from east to west and brought justice and fairness to people in these regions. Ruler of two eras. Some scholars think that Qarnayn could mean era or period. In this sense, Zulkarnain would mean ruler of two eras, suggesting a king who ruled during two different periods. In the Holy Quran, Zulkarnain is presented as a just ruler and a righteous servant of Allah. He punished oppressive people in the west, helped a helpless nation in the east, and built a wall against Gog and Magog in the north. We will discuss this in detail later, but for now, remember that his name, Zulkarnain, makes it clear that he was a wise and powerful ruler who established justice and fairness in different parts of the world. There are three major opinions among scholars regarding Zulkarnain's status. 1. He was a prophet. Scholars like Hafiz ibn Kathir believe that Zulkarnain was a prophet. According to a narration attributed to Ibn Abbas, he was a prophet, but this narration is based on a weak chain of narrators. 2. He was a righteous king. The majority of scholars say that Zulkarnain wasn't a prophet, but rather a righteous and just servant of Allah who was given special power. Sayyidina Ali, RRA, said, he wasn't a prophet, but a servant who loved Allah. 3. He was an angel. This view is extremely weak and unacceptable. Hafiz ibn Kathir called it strange and peculiar. Some ancient scholars identified Alexander the Great as Zulkarnain, but this view is incorrect because Alexander was a polytheist, while the Quran's Zulkarnain believed in one God. According to modern research, Cyrus the Great of Persia is considered to be Zulkarnain. He was a just ruler who freed the Jews in Babylon. His attributes match those described in the Quran, but we cannot definitively say he was Zulkarnain. Some traditions link Zulkarnain to the Himyarite tribe of Yemen, but the historical evidence for this is weak. In Surah Al Kahf verses 83 to 98, Zulkarnain's three famous journeys to the west, east, and north are described. One day, he set out on his journey and went to different parts of the world. He traveled toward the east, west, and north. While traveling north, he reached a nation that was very troubled. They came to Zulkarnain and complained, "O Zulkarnain, Gog and Magog are a big problem for us. They destroy our crops, kill our animals, and loot our homes. We are tired of their oppression. Can you help us?" Zulkarnain listened to them and decided to help them. He told the people, "I will help you, but you must also help me. Together, we will build a strong wall that can stop Gog and Magog." Zulkarnain planned to build the wall. He told people, "We need to collect large pieces of iron." People gathered pieces of iron together. Then Zulkarnain ordered, "Now we need to heat these iron pieces in fire." When the iron pieces were heated, Zulkarnain said, "Now we need to pour molten copper over them." People did so. Molten copper was poured over the iron pieces, creating a strong and unbreakable wall. Looking at the wall, Zulkarnain said, "This is the grace of my Lord. When Allah's time comes and He wills, this wall will break down." Gog and Magog are two savage tribes who are descendants of Prophet Noah, a.s. Their appearance resembles the Mongols: small eyes, small noses, and red hair. They are very numerous and known for spreading corruption on earth. Gog and Magog have been contained behind Zulkarnain's wall. But near the day of judgment, the wall will break, and Gog and Magog will come out. They will cause destruction everywhere, cut down trees, kill animals, and harm humans. This is a very big topic, and I will record another video about it if you are interested. Please write in the comments. Zulkarnain's story is not just about conquests, but also about justice and fairness. When Allah gave him authority and resources in the world, he didn't use them just to display his power but worked for the betterment of humanity. One of his journeys was toward the west, where he was advancing with his army through different lands until he reached a place where the land seemed to end, where the vast expanse of sea met the sky. There he saw the sun setting in a large muddy spring. This scene was astonishing for his army, because at that time, due to lack of knowledge about the world's borders, people thought this was the edge of the earth, where there was nothing ahead except endless water. But here, there were not only wonderful natural scenes, but also a community living in this place. A community that was perhaps completely cut off from the rest of the world. These people seemed wild and savage. Their manners were not like ordinary humans. There was fear and surprise in their eyes. Perhaps they had never seen such a large army before. Perhaps they thought this conqueror would take their land and destroy their settlement. But Zulkarnain was not just a conqueror. He was also a just ruler whom Allah had given authority to treat them as he wished. Either punish them or show mercy to them. This was the moment where the difference between an ordinary conqueror and a true leader becomes apparent. Zulkarnain sheathed his sword and made a decision with his wisdom and justice. He understood these people's conditions, learned about their difficulties, and then decided that the oppressors would be punished and the oppressed would get justice. He established a system among them where the powerful would not oppress the weak, where everyone would get justice. He provided basic facilities for them, taught them a better way to live, and spread the message of justice and equality among them. The journey to the east. Zulkarnain's missions showed no signs of ending. After his amazing conquests in the west, now his gaze was on the eastern lands. With his army, he advanced through country after country, valley after valley, cutting through mountains and crossing rivers, in search of a land where the sun cast its first rays on earth. The creatures here were different from ordinary humans. They had no houses or roofs to protect them from the sun's heat. They lived as if they had been left to the mercy of nature. There was no arrangement for clothing, nothing to protect them from severe heat and storms. They lived along shores, on rocks, and in open fields. To escape the burning light of the sun, they sometimes took refuge in water, sometimes lay down on the ground. But all these efforts were futile. When Zulkarnain saw their helplessness, he realized that they needed not just governance but salvation. He was not just a conqueror. He ordered that places be built where people could be protected from the sun's heat. Strong walls were erected with clay and stone, and rooms were made inside the ground so that coolness would remain even in extreme heat. But Zulkarnain's journey didn't end here. He was not one to stay in one place. He showed these people a way to live, made them stand on their own feet, and then moved on to another mission, another destination. His story was not just one of conquests, but a great tale of service and humanity that will last until the end of the world.